Okay, so continuing from where we left from part 1, I'm just going to continue to refine the block models for this aircraft. So before we proceed with that, I want to show you a good piece of software, which is basically a clone of BeeRef. So this is like a open source and freeware version of BeeRef called BeeRef. So I just found this software and I find it that is extremely useful. So here is the GitHub link over here, and this is the Windows version. You just need to download this, run it, and execute it. And once you run it right, you should be able to bring in the references. So let me just run the software and show you how it works. So basically, you want to find all the references you have for your target model. So in this case, I have the pictures of my target model selected. I just drag and drop it into BeeRef, and BeeRef will automatically arrange everything nicely for me. And then from here on, you can grab and then rearrange the images, rescale, right? And then you can rotate the image, right? You can also double click on the image to zoom in to look at the details. So this piece of software will make it very easy for us to have an overview of the references that we want to do for our aircraft. Okay, so the next stage of my modeling, I want to model the center portion of this fuselage. Okay, so let's jump into Maya. And let me just organize the layers a little bit so that it's easy for me to manage the modeling. So I'm going to go over to the channel box, and I'm just going to place all the other parts, right? For example, the wings, right? And then the winglets. Okay, probably in another layer. Right, so I'll put all these into, I'll call this wing surfaces, and then I'll save. Then I'll just hide these. Okay, these two bottom fins, I will select them, and I'll also add them into right mouse click onto this layer, right mouse click, and then add selected objects. So right now they are invisible. Okay, so now we have the engine intakes and then the engine parts over here. So I'm going to go over to the right view. Okay, and I'll right mouse click on the object and assign it with the modeling material, which is assign existing modeling material so that they become transparent. Okay, I need to go over to the other side and choose this one as well. Press G, repeat last command. Okay, it doesn't work, so never mind. Assign the modeling material. Okay, so now that we can see both of them are clear enough. So you can see that the jet intake, right, the top part extends all the way over here. So I'm going to select the front here and then extrude another section so that it follows the shape of this jet intake. Okay, so I'll start off with this section by double clicking on the open edge here and then holding down the shift, press W to move shift, and then extrude out the section and go over to the right view. And we're going to grab all the vertices here and then push it up right about there. I'm going to push these back and use rotate this at this angle and then scale it up, then push this back. I'm going to use rotate again and scale it up. Okay, just to follow the section here. Okay, I think this group here, this group of vertices I can push back. Alright, so we don't have enough detail to push back that straight line over there, so I'm just going to keep this one straight over here like that. Okay, right now I just want to get it to match the shape of the jet intake right about here. I think there's another section here that looks more like that. Yeah, so right now I'm just eyeballing this. And let's see what does it look like from the front. Okay, the scale of this might be slightly off, okay, but just try my best to try to get it to match the shape of the jet intake. Okay, so I think we've done enough for the jet intake for now. I'm just going to focus on the center portion of this fuselage here. So maybe I'll put the intakes, the jet intakes, in their own layer. So rename this, I'm going to call it jet intake engines, then save. Then I'll hide this as well. Okay, now we'll focus on the center portion of the aircraft. Right, so we can see here we have a two-seat cockpit over here, so we definitely need more edge loops over here. So I'm going to insert maybe a middle edge loop, middle mouse click here, and then my edge loop in my modeling toolkit, the edge flow is turned on. Maybe I'll just leave it on for now. Then I will just manually grab these vertices, rotate them forward slightly, then move them over here. Okay, this section here probably needs another edge loop, so I will use the multi-cut tool and add another edge loop. And the edge flow actually helps to push out the section here. So make sure that your modeling toolkit, when you're using the multi-cut tool, the edge flow is on. That's why every time you insert edge loop, it pushes up a little bit. So if I don't turn this edge flow on, and I'll just do a cut right across here. Okay, you will notice if I cut left mouse click and click, you'll notice that it doesn't bounce up. Alright, so now I have enough detail, I can just move these to match. Now, unfortunately for my reference, the reference that I have for the front view is based on a single seater and not the dual seater. So I will have to do some educated guesses on the shape over here. So I'll try my best to push this to follow the shape of the cockpit right about here, and then perhaps this one up to here like that. And you can notice there's a bulge around here, so this section definitely needs one more edge loop. You can grab all these vertices and scale them uniformly until it follows the general shape profile of the aircraft. And then maybe this section here, I'll manually move them up. And this one, scale it down and taper it down to match the tail end of the aircraft. Okay, so far the side is done, but let's take a look at the front view. And we can see that we definitely need to make it a little bit narrower. So I'm going to turn on symmetry modeling. Control Shift, right mouse click, symmetry along the x-axis. Right, also I want to, because I rotated this was a cylinder, was rotated and the orientation is a bit off. So I'm going to freeze the transformation so that it will reset the orientation of the object. Okay, I'm going to take a look at the front, and this side here seems a bit too wide. So with my symmetry on, I should be able to narrow this down. Like so. This one makes more sense right now. Okay, and I'm going to take a look at the top view. And remember, the front view is based on the single seater. And I think it would be good to actually enable a second viewport so that I can see what am I pushing along the side view. So I'm going to split this into two views using the this layout choice over here. Press number 6 to turn on your shaded view, and then in this other view here, I'm going to turn on the side view. Alright, so okay, looking at this section here, this is where the cockpit section, the canopy section area here starts. So I'm going to insert one edge loop here. So insert one edge loop here, use the multi-cut tool to insert one edge loop. Then I'm going to change this to my top view. Okay, so I know that this is actually the start of the cockpit, which is this section here. So this one should be narrower. So using the scale tool, I'm going to push it in. Actually, I had to manually push this in here myself, and then this section here should be rounded. Again, like I said, this top view is based on a single seater, so I had to make my own educated guess as to what the shape of the canopy looks like. So this one should be narrow like this, and the nose section here, and this section, I think, yeah, these should be closer like that. So you can see for the dual seater, the cockpit actually extends forward a little bit more. Okay, because it needs to seat two pilots or two air crew. The pilot, I believe, is in front, and then the secondary crew member is behind, managing the weapon system. So in Western aircraft, the second crewman will be managing the onboard weapon system. Okay, and then this one, I think I just put it to the top a bit so that later I can merge it with the wing section. So right now, all these, right, I'm just using some educated guesses as to where they're supposed to be. Alright, so we have the top part now modeled. Okay, the width, okay, I think we can just scale this up a little bit more by manually pulling this out. Okay, so far so good. So let's take a look at this in perspective view. So just tap this, maximize, and just quickly assign this with a solid material. And let's take a look at it from the top. Okay, it looks good from here. The side, yeah, it looks good from here. Okay, so now we know that if we look at the reference, we know that this section here, right, it extends out quite a bit before it reaches out to the winglet and then the root of the wing. So we want to select a section here and then extrude it out. Alright, so let me just zoom in and then show you what I mean here. This section here, we're going to try to create a shape that more or less matches this section. Then starting from the nose, based on the image here, it starts right at the beginning of the canopy here, and then we're going to pull out the midsection or extrude out the midsection. So let me change this material to model material first, and we can more or less see that the section that is flowing, again, I have to study the reference carefully. Let's take a look at different angles. So that's why the reference is very important. So yeah, it starts right about here, just behind the nose of the canopy. Right, so I would say right about here. So I'm going to have to pick the faces. Okay, this face, and then possibly I'm going to actually pick more faces. These are the faces here. These will form like the root of the wing section, like that. Okay, maybe perhaps I'll need to insert one edge loop around here because I do not want to select all the faces here to pull out that much. Because if we look at the top of the aircraft, okay, right over here, you can see right at the top of the aircraft, you can see that this part here is tapering inwards. And I think, okay, on second thought, maybe, yeah, right about here, just where the boosters end, maybe I'll insert one edge loop around here. Okay, so let's go back to my model again, and I'll insert roughly, use multi-cut tool right just behind the booster or the exhaust. Alright, so right about there. Okay, good. So good. Now I'm going to go back to select the faces again. Press Q. Select the faces which I will pull out the midsection. So I'm selecting these two faces all the way to here, that's right. And then let's go to the top view. And that's where I'm going to pull out the section until it reaches here. And then you can see that this section here actually extends out quite a bit. But I think I can extrude out the face until it reaches here, which forms the root of the wing and also the extension or the wing extensions. So let's just go to the right view again, and I'll just extrude out one small section first, or actually I'll do an inset. So shift right mouse click, go and extrude, and then we're going to do an offset and just extrude inwards slightly like this. Okay, and then just make sure that when you do the offset, you don't overlap too much. Right now my offset is a bit, maybe 0.1 in my case. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, with the offset we can, and with the faces selected, we can go and extrude again one more time. So we can hold on to W to move, hold on to shift, and then extrude out a small section like that. So if you go to the top view, okay, you can see now one section has been extruded out, and maybe I want to extrude it right to where the fin section is for now. I want to just pull it out, and you can see that the surface is uneven because this is pulled out from the side of a cylinder. Then I'll use the scale tool to flatten it like that along the x-axis. Okay, so now that we have this, we're going to take a look at it at the side here. This is what it looks like. And I think I want to move the vertices right so that it will form the streaks. Okay, so this section here, I want to try to move the vertices so that I'll form this section here. Alright, so I'll basically push the vertices inwards until it forms the triangular shape. So I'll go to the top view, and I will grab these vertices and just manually push this in here. Okay, maybe this one I will push it as much as inwards as I can. Okay, I think it's good. This one push in here like that. And this one I'm going to push it forwards here a little bit. Okay, everything else, maybe this one I'll push it out slightly here. Like so. Okay, so now let me just switch over the material to solid material so I can see my handiwork. Right, so these definitely will have to be much thinner, so I'm going to use scale tool. Okay, make sure you select only the 3 vertices. I meant to select only these 3 vertices, yeah, and then scale them down. You can use edge selection also, and then use that to scale it down. So we have this nice streaks. Okay, right now it's not really accurate because these streaks, right, if you look at the side of the aircraft, you may find a reference. They're relatively straight. Okay, so I will have to go and do the adjustments again in the modeling section here. So go over to grab the vertices, and then maybe this section here, push it up a little bit. So that's why you have to see from the side here. Okay, I have to be very careful not to select the vertices from behind. Okay, we want to try to get this thing to be as straight as possible. And these sections definitely will have to have a tapered look to it. Okay, I'm not going to move this yet. Okay, I need to refer to the top reference so that I can get it to be nice and rounded. So maybe this section here I need to pull it out slightly. so. Maybe this one here as well. Okay, so far so good. Let's see. Our wings is actually sticking out right about here, and I think these sections here should be much higher. Okay, and if I turn on the jet intakes, you can see that it should be sticking out, which is correct. It should be sticking out from the back of the aircraft. So if you look at the actual plane itself, you can see here the two jet engines, right, they're sticking out in this section. So later when we merge this section here together, we will have to be very careful with the topological flow. We have to model the panels to form this shape here. So we'll leave that there for the time being. So I'm just trying to get the shape to match. So let me hide the jet intakes and also reassign a different material. And we'll continue from here. So this is where the wings will come up from. So I'm going to insert one edge loop here so I know where the wing root is going to start from and where it's going to end. So I'm going to insert one more edge loop right about here, okay, because this is the section from here to here which the wing is going to come up from. Let's see, top view again. Just going to select this vertex here so I know where it starts, okay. So that is where the wing is actually coming from. Now I can actually create the wing from here. Okay, I already selected from here, and so I know that these are from that position. Okay, this is where the wing is going to come up from. So the wing, right, you can see is relatively straight and flat. So let's go to the right view here and see. And that means, right, we need to move these faces all the way up. Okay, so I'm going to grab this section here and then just push this up. Okay, actually I think I pushed it up too much. Yeah, because I need this section here. This is where the elevators are being supported, so we do not want to push it too much. I think that I've done too much here. Just push it up a little bit more, right about there. And maybe this group here, just push it up a bit more. And this is where the start of the wing happens. Okay, so now I'm going to select the faces that form the wing. I believe it ends here. Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's just verify this. Right, so this is where the wing will come out from. Okay, if the wing comes out from here, if you take a look, there is this section here that also forms the winglet. So I think at this stage, I do not want to extrude any more sections from here because I already have the winglet model. And actually in reality I already also have the wings model. I can unhide the wings and let's see how they appear. Alright, so I actually created the wings here, but the wings actually have this streaks, so I'm going to select the streaks for the wings and get rid of the streaks. Okay. Okay, so roughly I have the wing position roughly there already. So I will now select these two faces here because the trailing edge of the wing is usually quite thin. So I will just make this as thin as possible. And leading edge, these two edges here are also quite thin. So I will select these two faces and then I will scale them down as well. Okay, so far so good. I think we got the body right to follow as close to the reference as much as we can for now. There is this sort of a nose cone shape. Maybe I want to work on the tail section. Here there seems to be a cone that is sticking out. Okay, let's take a look at the reference again and see what the shape actually looks like. Alright, so there's actually a tube, almost a tube-like structure that flows all the way, and the wing actually continues flat until to the center here. So maybe now is a good time to actually merge the wing to the surface. Okay, that means I will I'll try to find a way to actually match the surface of the wing to this surface here. Actually, right now come to think of it, I will hide the wing surfaces for now, and I will actually extrude the wing out from this section so that to keep the surface aligned and flat. I think the wing comes up from, okay, the wing starts from here. Alright, so let me just select the faces that I want to form the wing. Okay, there are three sections here, and then this part here, right, this line here is uneven. I'm going to select this edge here, scale it up flat, and then bring this up like so they're quite even. And maybe this vertex here, I want to push it up a little bit. Okay, and then now I'm going to select these 6 faces. I'm going to extrude out a tiny little bit, then use scale it down slightly so I can form the shape of the wing. This part is very critical. You're going to shape this down so that it's a nice trailing edge, and then these 2 edges not too thin, and then because this is a supersonic wing section, we want to move slide these 2 edges forward like that. And now we have the wing. Now the wing looks a little bit too thick for me, but let's take a look at it in the front view. In the front view, the wing is actually fairly thin, so you can see from the thickness over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select the faces like that, and I'll just scale it down until it roughly matches the thickness of the wing itself. And the wing is actually further up like that, starting from here. And then now we can extrude out the wing. Holding down the shift, we can extrude out the wing until it's straight up like that. Scale this down. There's sort of a little bit of anhedral, that means downwards, pointing downwards a little bit. Okay, so we extrude it out parallel. And now we need to push this, use scale to flatten it. Then press W to push this wing section back like so. Then use uniform scale it down so that we have a tapered wing. Okay, so now this wing is actually connected to the body of the aircraft, and we need to fix this area here because we need this section to be quite flat. So I'm going to change the material shading temporarily back to solid. Okay, and then we are going to do some sliding to make it flush with the surface. Because based on the reference, the wing is actually quite flush with the surface. Let me undo this one, and I'm going to try to use the just going to manually move the vertices until they are nice and flat. So at this stage, right, we can still consider this like almost like blocking. We don't want to try to keep the number of vertices that we're using to be as low as possible. Okay, there, I think later we might even detach the wing, and so that we can fix the topology flow here. But meanwhile, I just want to get the wing nicely flowing together with the rest of the body. Okay, and then maybe slide this one back so that it follows the structure. Okay, so here comes the tricky part here, which is the narrow section here. So that's where the reference comes in again. We have this nice tapering section of the back here. Okay, that's where the air brakes is situated. So you can see here on my version, right, this is definitely too wide. So I'm going to switch back to the modeling material, which is transparent. Let's go back to object mode first. Modeling material, and then I'm going to go to the top view. And I'm going to grab the vertices and then just push them inwards until they start to follow the curvature of the shape. Alright, so at this stage, right, there will be a lot of pixel pushing to get it to match the shape that you need, and that's the reason why we try to avoid putting too many vertices right in the beginning when we are modeling. Because if you have too many vertices right when you're modeling this, right, then it becomes too many points to move. Yeah. So right now I'm just literally sculpting by moving vertices. Right, I'm going to switch back to the solid material. Again, need to do that in object mode. Existing, right mouse click, assign solid material, and then over here it makes it a little bit easier for me to just move the vertices. Okay, you want to position the aircraft right at exactly the same angle as the reference, so that when you open up the reference, so you can see what it is like. Right, so you put the reference next to your drawing, and then use that to check and see does it match your shape or not. So that's why this software is very, very useful. Let's turn that on again, and yeah, so this one you can press Control Shift and then slide this. I'm gonna try to push this aside a little bit more so that everything is nice and smooth. Okay, spread out the distance here a bit. So if you approach this slowly, nice and easy, right, you should be able to get it to match. And then you want to try to position these vertices, try to evenly spread them apart. And right now it's easy because we don't have a lot of vertices to worry about. I'm going to try to get the points to match the flow as much as you can. This one here, I think we can push this down slightly up a bit like that, like so. Okay, that's why references are very, very important. Okay, let's take a look at the reference again. That's why you always have to jump back and forth to the reference. And then you can see that this section here, right, there is this what do you call it, another extrusion that pops up in the center here. So let's see whether we can replicate that. Okay, it seems to come out from the side here. I'm thinking, should I insert another edge loop, because I really do not want to insert any more edge loop that runs across here. So what I can do is I'll just select these two faces here. Okay, let me hide the genetics. Okay, these faces here, and just extrude them. Well, actually, come to think of it, let's take a look at a reference. Okay, yeah, they are continuous piece. So maybe I will use these faces here instead. Yeah. Right, so this one can go in all the way here. So these vertices 1, 2, and 3, we can scale them inwards like that. Push this out. Okay, and then extrude these two faces. Okay, let's try that. See how that looks. Right, that could work. Okay, but then as I extrude right there, you can see that there's a gap over there. Okay, let me try to fill up this hole. So basically I'll delete these faces, then these faces. Well, and then I'll stitch these two faces together. So select these two faces here. And I'm going to just merge these two together. So select, you can hold on to V and then you snap to this position. But remember, we are just snapping it to position. It doesn't join it together. So we will have to merge these vertices. So shift right mouse click, merge the vertices. Select these two, press G to merge. Select these two, alright, and then press G to merge. Right, so now we have that center stick portion here that I can push up a little bit. And let's take a look at the reference. Yeah. So it tapers in slightly. Let's take a look at from the top view. And I'm going to go to object mode so I can change to my modeling material. And then you can see here it tapers in quite a bit. So I will grab the vertices, push this inwards here. Okay, so this one tapers inwards, so I'll insert one edge loop here. Okay, there's something wrong with the other side now. Let me undo that. Okay, the other side probably didn't merge properly. Let's see. Yeah, so these two did not merge. That's why the edge loop didn't cut across. So let me merge them. Okay, press G, merge, okay. Let's see whether I can insert the edge loop. Ah, now it works. Alright, good. So go to the top view. I want to insert one edge loop right about here. Then another one here. Then I can grab these vertices and then push it inwards like that. So now I have that tapered section. I'm going to use the scaling tool to flatten these vertices, same as this one. I might as well flatten all of these here. Okay. And also the tail section here. Alright, I'm going to refer back to my reference one more time. Let's take a look at it. This one is a nice, smooth, what I call it, a nose cone section. Let me see whether are there any pictures which shows a clearer view. Okay, so you can see that it sticks out like that. It's a sharp point. So I'll just grab this center pivot point, I'll just temporarily put it like that for now. And this whole section here actually should be much shorter, like this. And right now, that I look at this, it seems that this section is more in the center. Okay, so that means, right, I should be pushing this entire section up a little bit more, rather than coming from the bottom here. So that means, let me rebuild this a bit. Let's go to, okay, I gotta fix an error. I noticed an error that I'm doing. So I'm gonna select these faces and I'm gonna delete them. Gonna rebuild the top part here. Okay, I'm gonna delete these faces. Delete. And delete these faces. No, actually I'm going to extrude this upwards so that I'm going to combine it to the top here. So like, okay, and then this one, these interior faces, I'm going to delete them. This one as well. No, not this one, and delete. Okay, so now we're going to use my vertex snap again, holding down the V and snap it to here. Okay, so I'm going to grab all the vertices here and then apply a merge. Merge vertices using, and I'm going to patch the bottom hole here. For this one, let's see. Okay, we definitely need to extrude one edge here first. So, okay, let's see. How do I patch this? I'm gonna extrude an edge, push out one edge here like that. Select this vertex and then snap it here. Merge the vertices. Select these two opposing edges and then bridge them. So I cover up this hole here. And maybe right now here I do not have enough edge loop to run across it, but that's fine. Okay, so this one I'll have to extrude one edge here. Bridge these two here. Bridge this one here. Okay, so I have a gap over here, so I'll bridge this one and this one here. Then finally close up these two here, so double click and fill the hole. Yeah, so I spotted a modeling issue or mistake there, so that's why I had to do this. I need to push this up to the center here, because looking at the reference here, this section seems like it's in the middle, so that's why I had to do what I did. And there's a taper that goes in like that. I can achieve that with a edge loop here, and maybe I will just push this one downwards like that, and then one upwards like this here. Okay, now before I do that, I should probably insert one edge loop around, although these are triangular faces, so I'll try to let's see, cut in the middle. Okay, let's try manually cutting this. Okay, I'll just cut a small section first and then I'll manually cut across here, press enter. Alright, so these edges can be scaled to flatten, and then I will slide them, Control Shift and slide them until they are here. Right, so the reason why I do this so that I can create this taper shape without collapsing the shape of the cone. Okay, like so. And then this bulges out slightly. Okay, just like what we see over here. So let's go to right view. Oh, one of my edges here is not slide down. Ah, okay. These are not merged together, so let's merge them. And slide the edges, and we'll slide them down there. Okay. So a bit of work to just get this detail in. These ones should be sliding in slightly. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of the modeling history. So Alt Shift D. And I think we have our body done. Let me unhide the wing surfaces. Maybe right now I don't need this wing anymore. So I mean the individual wing. Let me just delete this. And yep, it's starting to look pretty good. And for this demo, I'll just stop at this part and we will continue in another session. So I'll save this file, increment and save. Now I'll stop the recording.